In this examples, we're going to factor. And we're going to start with the first question always. Is there a GCF? So let's start with number 10. And look, is there a GCF? Do all the numbers have something in common? Well, in this case, this is a 1. So we automatically say, no, we're not going to take no GCF from the numbers. Then, do the variables have something in common? Well, the third number does not have a variable. So no. In this case, no GCF. Okay, how many terms? Well, we have 3 terms. When we have 3 terms, we factor by grouping. Okay, so what do? You take A times C. So A times C, right? 1 times 12 gives you 12. Then we look for the factors of 12. So I have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 and 4. Okay? Then we ask yourself, from these factors, which could add or subtract to the middle term? In this case, will be 8. Well, which ones will add? Because this is positive and positive, so definitely has to be addition, is 2 and 6. So then we're going to rewrite a trinomial as a polynomial of 4 terms. So we can factor by grouping. So I'm going to have 1 x squared. Always the largest number first. Plus, you bring that sign down, 6x. Then you do positive times positive, gives you positive. Plus 2x plus 12. Now we factor by grouping. And grouping says you want to split it down the middle. Okay. What does 2 have in common? The x. So you're going to take out an x. X squared divided by x. Remember, we're dividing, so you subtract the exponents. So that gives you x plus the 6 with no x. Okay? What are these 2 numbers, 2 terms, excuse me, have in common? A 2. So you bring down your positive sign, the 2, open your parentheses, and do the same process. 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So just left with the x. 12 divided by 2 is just 6. So, if you look at this term and this term, what is in common? What is the exact same thing? The x plus the 6. So, x plus 6. What do you have left? X plus 2. And you have factor out this trinomial. That will be your answer for this example. Now this one, let's look at it. Step 1, as always, is there a GCF? Do you have a common factor between 10, 29, and 72? I can go ahead and tell you that we do not have a GCF. Do all the terms have a variable in common? No, because this right here does not have an x. So we automatically go and multiply A times C. In this case, the 10 times the 72 gives us quite a bit of a large number. You're going to have a lot of factors. I did this ahead. And I'm going to write down for you all the factors that I found, starting with the first one. 1 times 720, the easiest one. Then I have 2 times 360. I did 3 times 180. I also did 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. I was getting a little bit tired. But one thing that I have learned whenever you're looking for this, if you want to get to 29, right? And it has to subtract because this is a negative. So the first time is going to be negative. And the negative times negative is going to give you a positive. So different signs, you have to subtract. Well, 3 minus 180 is not going to give me 29. So if I were to even go to 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, and so on, they're very small numbers. So I'm going to have to subtract 2 large numbers, right? A little bit large, at least one large. It can be that small and that large, right? So you have to play with the numbers. But after you have done all this, and if you ask you're asking, well, how is she getting these numbers? Simple multiplication and division, right? I can divide 720 by 4 and see what numbers that gives me. Or I can say one number multiplies times and gives me 720. That's simple. We're mostly dividing, okay? So you're going to get to 16 times 45. Okay? 16 times 45 gives you the 720. 16 minus 45 gives you the 29. Okay? So I'm going to just do this quick little erasing right here for my signs. And these are my two factors that I'm going to use. And then again, it says, since I'm doing AC method, the grouping, after I found my two factors, I'm going to rewrite my trinomial as a polynomial of 4 terms so I can solve by grouping, right? So this becomes 10x squared minus the largest number first, so 45x. A negative times a negative gives me a positive, so that's 16x minus 72. So as you see, the two factors that you found take place of the middle number, because if you subtract this, you get to the 29, okay? And then we're simply going to solve by grouping. Make my line in the middle. What do these two have in common? Well, they have a 5x, write it right in the front, open my parentheses, do my division process. 10 divided by 5 gives me a 2. X squared divided by the x. I'm going to subtract because I subtract the exponents when I'm dividing. This leaves me with an x. Take away 1 from 2, 1. Minus 45 divided by 5. That gives me 15 if I'm correct. No more x's. Okay? Right now my positive sign. What does this two have in common? I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 8. And bring my 8 in the front, open my parentheses. 16 divided by 8 gives you the 2, no x, so that brings it down. Minus 72 divided by 8, I believe that's 9. Wait a minute, 9? I'm doing something wrong. I found what I was doing wrong. Good, hopefully you found it before me. And we're saying, what is she doing? This right here. 45 divided by 5 is not 15, it's 9. 45 divided by 3 gives you 15. Okay, you caught my mistake right here. Now, that was very good, very good. I'm going to say that I planned it. You notice how I had a 15 here, right? And this gave me a 9. And I automatically prompted, wait a minute, I did something wrong. Well, how did I know that I did something wrong just because I got this 9 over here? When it comes to grouping, this right here and this right here has to be exactly the same. If it's not the same, that means you did something wrong and you have to go back and check your steps. So it kind of gives you a hint if you're in the right path. Okay? So 2x minus 9, 2x minus 9. Yay, we get a check mark. That is right. So if you look at this term and this term, what is the exact same? Exactly the same is 2x minus 9. Okay, what is my leftover? 5x plus 8. 5x plus 8. And you have factored this. So remember, grouping gives you a hint if you're doing it correctly. Okay? That's it for these two examples.